I used to think he was the greatest, but now I'm like, Michael Jordan, you're pretty good at spite and to like be driven to do these things. But could you say that you could get yourself into Oxford University to do a PhD program out of spite because you hate racism so much? And my answer is absolutely not. So
yeah, Michael Jordan is the Renfrew Christie of basketball, is what you're saying.
Love it.
Everybody, welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Hannah Hillam.
And I'm Kaveh Taherian. Hannah, welcome back from the break.
The 5-month break, it seemed.
Oh my God, it felt like forever. I forgot how to do this.
It was only a month ago that we last recorded, by the way.
I guess it hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been so long because it was so frequent that we were doing it.
Yeah.
How you doing?
2026,
This is our year.
I don't know what to say. It's been a year so far. Let's just say January has felt like 6 months to me.
It has felt 6. That's conservative. I would feel like it's felt like 6 years.
Yeah, it's I've aged that much, and it feels. And I think I've had every disease known to man in the last month. I got the super flu.
Care to list them? The stupid flu or the super flu?
I have terminal stupid flu. Okay? No, I have a temporary super flu. Okay? So I got the super flu, whatever that means.
What the hell is that?
It's just the flu, but it's an extra bad one this year.
How is it different from COVID? I don't know. Should we get Dr. Kaveh on the line and get him to come show up and explain? Yeah.
We need Dr. Kaveh on here to be like, just tell me what I already know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was knocked out for like 2.5 weeks.
Oh my God.
It was worse than COVID. It was crazy. So everybody that has that or had it, I'm so sorry.
Oof, rough.
And it had this new aspect to it where like it made me cry all the time. And I was like, maybe it's just me.
That's so different from how you normally are.
I would never cry in front of you. Not even
for
before
anything.
This episode.
You almost cried before we started recording.
But yeah, how are you doing?
Not great.
No. This year is it's just been so chill. That's why you're not great. There's not enough happening.
No, there's not enough happening. Of course, I will say, it's not to make it about ourselves in any way, because obviously the things that are happening in the world have nothing to do with, our misfortunes. They're nothing. But I did think it was ironic, let's say, that last year when we started recording, we were like, oh shit, there was like fires, and then we couldn't record for a couple of weeks.
You had to flee LA. Yeah.
I had to flee Los Angeles. And then this year we were like, okay, let's give it some time. We're like, just in case something happens. And of course, relax, or like we'll ease into it. We'll have some time. We'll record at like a slow pace. Of course, we did not get to do that in large part, not just because of the horrors of America, but also the horrors happening overseas in Iran right now. Has been all consuming. It has completely taken over every minute of my life in terms of what I read about or what I watch on various social media platforms and reading on the news. In terms of everybody reaching out to me and family members or friends or people in the Iranian diaspora, just all chattering constantly nonstop, and all of us doing our best to make sure that the world doesn't forget. So at the time of this recording, it's at least, I think we're going into the 3rd week of no internet in Iran as the Islamic Republic continues to just be awful, miserable, horrible pieces of shit who will burn in hell.
Yeah, if there is one, for sure. First, they're going to be first in line. The fact that they take out the internet, like that is a human right to have internet and access to communication. And what you see from that is coming out is just is nothing. Is nothing to what's actually, I'm sure, happening.
Absolutely. And the death toll numbers keep rising, and they keep saying that they're conservative, but that's just because they're having so much difficulty getting in to confirm the number of deaths. So if somehow you've been under a rock for the past couple of weeks and didn't know about this,
lucky.
That's been all consuming. Anyway, all this is to say, it's not funny, but it is ironic that we started the year and all of a sudden it was like, well, it's a good thing we weren't on a schedule, because I would have just been like reading off numbers of people being dead every week. And I don't necessarily
would have become a news show.
Yeah, which you don't want me telling you about the news. Like, I'm not smart enough to be able to. Maybe we should get my sister on here to do that. But no, I'm not good at that. So, I am happy to be back. I am happy to be recording again. We did mention at the end of last season that we were going to have some changes moving forward for season 3. And why don't you tell them first off about the new format?
The new format in order for us to not go insane, because we are, like you said in the last season, that we are working artists. We both have jobs. We both go, and this is not our main job. So in order to kind of lessen some of the weight of doing a book report every week each, we've now decided to do, we would switch off every week. So this week, for example, Kaveh will do his tab. And it'll probably be the episode will end up being around near an hour or a little more. So it gives us more time more time to like branch out, and there's more flexibility involved in our tabs. We can go into more detail, etc.
Breathing room, like wine in a decanter. We're just trying to like give it space.
Sure. Yeah. Give it some time to age. I don't know. I don't know about wine. Oxygenate. And in the oak barrel does the tannin.
No, you got
tannin.
It. Yeah.
The tannin.
You got it. Actually, those are all winey things. Yeah.
It's because I play a game called Viticulture.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds dorky.
It is. I only play it with friends, and I hate that game because I always lose.
You have
but I know all about. I do have friends besides you, and the 20 Persians you've introduced me to. But yeah, so we're going to be switching off every week, and then once a month, our goal is to have one guest on, where their tab will be front and center, and so we'll get to hear a full episode about their tab specifically. And is there anything else?
No, I mean, I think generally part of it was just to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room, but also some of the feedback we've been hearing from people, particularly in the guest episodes. They were like, it's fun, but like by the time you get to the third topic, people are like, bro, I'm not really ready. So I think part of it is
out of here.
We're going to try this. I don't know. This isn't like set in stone necessarily. I think we're just going to give it a roll and see if like maybe this can work. Again, same amount of insanity, same amount of everything. Just also maybe some people in terms of the habits, except for like of course the ride or die fans that we know.
Right.
Maybe somebody would listen to one tab and then they'd come back and listen to the other one later, and then people were getting stressed out because they were like falling behind because they just kept releasing every week. So this is hopefully going to be more manageable for everybody involved, both us on this side and Alyssa and everybody who's a listener. And then what that will also allow us to do, the other thing that we're going to try, hopefully to be able to keep up with, is start releasing episodes a week early. So at the time of this, when this drops, we will have episode 2 ready for release through Patreon. If you haven't signed up, you'll have early access to the episodes. And then hopefully I'll have figured out Apple Podcasts, TBD on that one. But I think I'll be able to do that as well. But that's going to be the new format moving forward.
So you can access the next week's episode early. And I'm going to be setting up a thing on the Discord that is just for Patreon members to be able to discuss the week's episode that has not been released. Yeah.
Good. That's smart.
I mean, yeah. We've gotten to know all of you a lot better over the last this process of doing this for 2 years. And I think this is going to be good for everybody. And
I'm
make
very
this
excited.
A lot more easy for us too. And hopefully to be able to help us continue as long as we can. So
yeah. And thank you, Hannah. You're the one who spearheaded this whole idea of like, here's how we can sort of figure this. You made a really cool, pretty calendar with nice colors that I ignored because I didn't see it as an attachment in the first email that you sent because I was looking at other stuff. And
2 weeks.
I didn't mention it at all. And you were like, is he mad at me? And I'm like, oh, I didn't even see it. So then I went back and looked. I was like, oh, this is great. I can understand what you're proposing altogether.
I planned out the whole year. And then I was like, why hasn't he said anything? Is he like not into this? He's like, oh, you already talked about everything. You already knew everything you talked about in the email. Yeah. I'm like, no.
You're like,
there was a beautiful calendar.
It really was beautiful.
Check your attachments, people.
Yeah, it's true. Don't be like me. But yeah, thank you. I think it's going to be, we're going to be able to be, you said we're trying to control our insanity. We're trying to control the correct insanity. I think it'll allow us to be more insane in the fun way and less insane in the stressed way. And
we were giving ourselves an open check, like a blank check to go absolutely insane, where it's like, and you know us by now, if I can't stop, like I don't know how to stop. I'm like, okay, this is how we do it every week, and we're not going to change it. And if we change it, it'll fall apart. And it's like, no, we're adults.
Let's make this more manageable for everybody.
Let go a little bit. Anyway,
that's I think that's the main announcements. I think is there anything else you want to talk about, or should we get into the tab? Singular, not multiple.
Get into your tab today.
I will get into my tab today. So, as I mentioned at the top, everything's awful.
Oh, you're right.
And of course, I'm going insane. I'm watching the Iranian diaspora eat each other, and I'm not going to get into all the different battling factions and ideologies and historical precedents or any of that crap. Because like I said earlier, I'm going to be yelling for 45 minutes, but like not in the fun way. And
yeah,
it's so
look,
whatever you think it is.
I don't know.
If you think your politics are complicated, wait till you talk to the Iranian people. By the way, on top of everything that's already happening in America, so it just gets more incestuous and insane. But I'm already doing it. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that today. I don't want to use this for that time.
Let it peek through every once in a while.
It will.
It will. There's no controlling that. It will.
So I was originally going to start the season off with an Iran focus tab, but I came across an obituary last month for today's subject. And I thought this guy was hilarious. And even though it's not about Iran and has nothing to do with Iran, I feel like it kind of embodied the spirit of what I wish we could all rally around and the sort of my wish fulfillment of like, this is the kind of insane person that I love.
Yeah.
And people talk a lot about 4D chess and like playing the long game and all that kind of shit. But this guy, Renfrew Christie, is truly insane. And I mean that in the most complimentary way possible.
Oh, I love an insane person. What a beautiful.
And I'll say this up front. You're allowed to like, there's no like twists about him being like, and then he was terrible. It's like, just have fun with this guy's fun.
You're not going to pull a Hannah on me where I don't tell you until the end.
And then he was on Epstein Island. Nothing like that.
See, not everybody who's bad was on Epstein Island, but everyone who was on Epstein Island is bad.
So just to give you a sense of what this guy looks like, this is not the person that you would think is totally insane. Exactly,
Okay. This looks like a little old villager from England who yells at you when you walk on his property.
Yeah. I believe he was of Scottish ancestry originally.
Yeah, with the name Renfrew, that's pretty Scottish.
Renfrew Christie.
Look at him. He looks like a computer programmer that I would see in the Bay Area 100%. In the 90s.
He looks like every scientist that worked with my dad. Exactly. I was going to say that.
That looks like my friend's dad who worked at Yahoo in 1995. Like 100%.
Everybody that worked with my dad in the lab in the 1980s. They all have that same. It was always like old school New Balances with like pleated pants and then like a tucked in shirt with like the arms folded up with no tie. They all dressed like that. They all had that same outfit.
It's like the uniform. You turn a certain age 100%. When you're a scientist. You're like, well, they issue you a uniform. I'm like, here it is. Here's your New Balances, sir.
Sir, you've deviated from this by wearing Nikes. This is inappropriate. You're going to be fined $10,000 by the United Citizens of Science Dork Costumers. I don't know.
Hold on. United Citizens. Just a second. I got to figure out the acronym for that. United Citizens of Science Dork Costumes. Is that what you said?
Costumers. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
they're
that
part
is
of IADC.
UCSDC. University of California, San Diego. Cucks.
Nope.
I don't know. The only words that come to mind are stupid ones.
Or cucks,
for me.
yeah.
USSDC. Okay.
USDA. Anyway, so Renfrew Christie was born in Johannesburg in 1949. No, not uh-oh. The opposite of uh-oh. Okay. Everything about this guy is the opposite of uh-oh. I'm telling you this up top, so get ready. Woo. His father died.
I shouldn't just generalize hearing the word Johannesburg. I shouldn't be like, uh-oh, racist.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Go on.
His father died when he was very young, unfortunately, and his mother struggled to make ends meet. And so he went to like a bunch of different boarding schools. And I'm not sure exactly who in his family did what during World War II, but the long and the short of it was that he grew up hearing stories about how Nazis are bad and you should always fight the power.
Yes.
And these were the sort of legends that he heard growing up, which is funny because from certain South Africans we know, they seem to have told themselves the exact opposite story.
Yeah.
But thankfully, he learned the correct stories from World War II.
Good.
So this is like planted in him at an early age of just like can't trust the government, can't trust people to do the right thing. And things can go dark real quick. And this is the lineage of the people that you're from who fought for stuff, who fought for their beliefs and things that matter and human rights.
Well, you heard, is he Scottish, you said?
I mean, I think that's like his ancestry. I'm not sure. I don't think he grew up in South Africa, so I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Long. Scottish people, they're Scot as a Scot. They are hardcore.
Yes. They know a thing or two about fighting the power.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time the 60s roll around, Renfrew's of age for mandatory military service, where he gets stationed at a base in Johannesburg suburb referred to as Lenasia. And this is the time as apartheid is like fully starting to ramp up properly. Like it's becoming like a big deal. And this suburb was originally owned by a guy named Captain Lenz, L-E-N-Z. Okay. And this area became where they housed all the Indians of South Africa, hence Len Asia.
Oh, geez.
Great.
Like, despite it being horrific, get a better name. Be more creative, maybe.
That's not what they do. If they were, they wouldn't be doing this.
Well, it's like how that Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe. It's like you just named it after the guy who ruined it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, they wanted to pay tribute to the guy who ruined it.
To Cecil Rhodes, one of the worst people on earth ever to live. By the way, everybody, I went to read about him once, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do a tab of this guy because he's genuinely the devil.
I didn't actually know to the extent of how Cecil Rhodes was awful, but maybe that's a tab for another day. Horrible I believe you. I'm just saying I'm realizing I'm like I know nothing about how awful he is.
In like the top 10 most evil people of the 19th and 20th century, I'd put him up there. Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
Look at me. I have a huge gap of my knowledge of Cecil Rhodes. I should be hating on him this whole time, and I haven't.
Oh yeah, piece of garbage.
This is the anti-Cecil Rhodes podcast.
It is. I'm coming out against Cecil Rhodes and everything he did.
Hot take. Anyway, so he's in Lenasia, right? And he's begun his mandatory military service, and he's there, and he's kind of like, man, I really don't like this loser ass government. Like, I don't like these people. I'm not really into what they're doing. And
I don't love this.
I don't love this. And not only do I not love military service, I don't love these people. And I'm not clear what he sees specifically while he's there, but there is a seed that is planted in him during his time in Lenasia, where he becomes suspicious that the apartheid government is trying to develop nuclear weapons.
Interesting. So wait, remind me, what year is this? This is like the 40s or 30s?
No, this is like the 60s. This is, I think it starts in 61. So this is probably like mid 60s by the time he's there.
Because apartheid is ramping up. Okay.
And so, fun fact, I didn't know this, that the United States had initially aided the regime's nuclear program because in 1957, under its Atoms for Peace program, the Eisenhower administration agreed to supply South Africa with a 40-megawatt research reactor and nuclear fuel.
We just can't keep our dirty little fingers out of literally everybody's business.
No, and I learned quite a lot about this tab gave me a lot of context for a lot of this stuff, which I thought was really interesting that I'm excited to share, and sort of how apartheid played into this in a way that I wasn't aware. I mean, again, to me, it's just like, well, apartheid's bad, obviously, but I didn't really understand the complexities of of what I'm going to get into. So thanks to the system of forced labor, South Africa made the cheapest electricity in the world, which aided the process of uranium enrichment and made the country's nuclear program a magnet for outside support.
Oh, wow.
Which, as Renfrew puts it, essentially like hypercharged apartheid, because it's a racist system of exploiting cheap manual labor, right? Because they're having to like mine. It's a lot of mining, right? That's what they always talk about in South Africa. It's like mining. So they're mining for uranium and like gold and all this shit. I don't understand like how nukes work, obviously, but this is all like...
I don't either.
It's sort of like reverting to a slave state where they're just like, these people are going to go mine for this shit and we're going to put them in this area. And then we're going to take this really cheap electricity that we can make and this uranium and this whatever dirty water and all that crap. And then we're going to sell it.
Great.
Predictably, that everyone who's not white in South Africa is like, no, this is a bad idea. No, let's not do this. Yeah.
Hey, can I not do this?
Can we not? Guys? Yeah, and the apartheid government, I mean, not everybody who's non-white. Obviously, some white people who were on the correct side of history also didn't like it. But
sure.
Actually, in fact, I'd say the minority is the one who controlled apartheid. That was the whole problem.
Always is.
Anyway, and meanwhile, the apartheid government was like, oh, wow, really? You don't support us? Great. Now we need to enrich uranium for a bomb because, communism. Like, we need to protect ourselves from communists internally.
The biggest threat. And
pretty soon, the Palindaba Nuclear Research Center was completed in 1961, and with that began a secret uranium enrichment program.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I could tell you what he saw specifically, but the information I could find is like scant. There's not a lot about exactly. But, even if I could, it would just be like, oh, yeah, clearly he saw like the double bongle scropuloid fission detector. And that's crucial for making weapons of mass destruction.
Double bongle is crazy.
I don't know.
Seen it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would be something way over my head because I don't understand
it. Double bongle really like stuck in my brain. I need to figure out what a double bongle is. Everybody draw it.
Draw the double bonguloid, the double bongle scrupuloid fission detector. That's what I wrote in my notes. That was the biggest nonsense word that I could come up with.
Why didn't you call your science dad?
Yeah, I was going to say, I could ask my dad, but I don't want to get like a 30-hour lecture of like, here's how atoms work. It's funny because every time I've asked my dad a science question and then I try and summarize it back to him to explain, to show that like I understood what it is that he's saying, or I'll be like, here's the metaphor that makes me understand. I'll be like, oh, it's like when you're doing this in the kitchen. He's like, no, that's not what it is. It is this thing in science. He does not understand.
They're like, we're speaking different languages. Yeah. There's no connection.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
So he sees some shit. I'm going to trust that he knows what he's talking about. Obviously he does. But the important thing is that he can see that like shit's getting real, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, there's something going on here that other people don't know about. And I'm noticing this while I'm in this place. And he's only 17 at this time.
Whoa.
So what does he do? He steps up his game.
Of course. Yeah.
Obviously, from there, he goes to college. He attends the University of Witwatersrand, where he's studying to get his Bachelor of Commerce. Okay. And there, he's arrested no less than 4 times for political mischief.
Good for him.
Let's call it political mischief.
Political mischief is the most, like, watered down way of saying.
No. It's all kinds of anti-government shit that he's doing, right? Like, he's organizing, he's rallying, all this kind of stuff. So much of his time was spent as a political prisoner in jail that in jail is where he actually finishes his degree, not in the classroom.
Dude, that's awesome. What a resume.
Yeah, exactly.
Builder.
Eventually, he moves on to get his master's at the University of Cape Town. And all the while, he's involved, like I said, in various student-led anti-apartheid activities. Mm-hmm. And again, unfortunately, the reporting is fuzzy in terms of like exact chronology. I don't know who met where, or if there was like a recruitment, or somebody reached out to somebody, or he reached out to, I don't know. That part, I don't know who it is or how this happens. But eventually, and this seems, I should say, inevitably, Renfrew becomes involved with the Umkhonto Esizwe, or the MK for short. And the MK was the paramilitary wing of the African National Congress, founded by, amongst others, Nelson Mandela, who, of course, was the main foe to apartheid in South Africa. Mm-hmm. You know how there's always those people who are like, we condone violence and we need to talk to each other and vote and like blah, 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 blah. The MK was the wing that was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that shit. The government is actively trying to kill us all the time. And you got to meet violence with violence. Otherwise, they don't stop.
Well, it's the whole thing where it's like, it's only defending yourself if you're white or in the, holding the power. It's like, this is defending themselves. This is like, you can't, I don't know.
And it's the government, and to be clear, just real quick, they're not engaging in acts of violence against like civilians, right? Mm-mm. These are people who are like, we need to step the game up. We need to think of like more creative, or like not creative, but like more specific ways that are more targeted as a way to stop this regime because it's going insane. And when you know it, he's a great student. And in 1975, Renfrew gets a scholarship to pursue his doctorate from Oxford University.
Oh, that's a good school, I hear.
Yeah, right. It's literally like one of the best schools in the world. Incredible,
and
right?
One of the oldest, I think. It's the oldest continually running school.
Isn't the University of Cairo the oldest continually running school, I thought?
Oh, maybe. I can't remember. I know maybe it's the oldest, like, has never stopped running. Or it's the second oldest. I don't know. I just know that it was from like 11, like a 10, what is it, 1,000? No, I think you're right. I think Cairo is the oldest, and then it's up there in like the top 5 or whatever.
English, once again, stealing things from the Egyptians.
Look, I already came out against white South Africans. I need to retain my... I already came out against Cecil Rhodes. I need to retain my English ancestry, and so if I don't say that, they will revoke it.
That's true. Anyway, so he gets a scholarship to Oxford to do his doctorate. So what does he decide to do for his thesis? You'd think, based on his knowledge and his experiences and his interests, it would be like civil rights or history or like, something like that. Yeah. But that's not what he does. He chooses something very interesting. Okay. You want to take a guess as to what it is?
I don't know. Humanities? Linguistics?
Nope.
Nuclear science?
Close. Not exactly.
Okay. Chemical engineering?
No. All right. I'm going to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
He chooses the electrification of South Africa.
Whoa.
Okay.
Oh. specific.
Why? That's so weird. Interesting. Oh, what is it about the electrification of South Africa that is interesting to you? So why does he choose this topic? Because in order to learn about the history of electrification of South Africa, he will need to spend time learning about the history of Eskom, which is South Africa's state power company. But why Eskom, you might ask? Quote from the man himself: "So I could get into the Electricity Supply Commission's library and archives and work out how much electricity they were using to enrich uranium."
This guy is one of us. Where it's like, I know, I'm going to become it so I can access all the secret information. Mm-hmm. I love him. This is a meme move.
It gets better. It gets better. And he knows, right?
Yeah.
That as a white doctoral candidate from Oxford, no one will think twice about what he's doing when he starts to ask for all of Eskom's records, including records about what's going on at the Coburg nuclear power station in the Western Cape. And remember, at this time, at least publicly, a lot of countries were putting pressure on South Africa because of apartheid. They'd start the tides had started to turn. They weren't supposed to be developing nuclear weapons of any kind, so their guard was very much up. And meanwhile, dude just walked in through the front door, and they let him see all of it.
They're like, "You look like one of us, please, sir." Oh, you even have the New Balances. Come in. Come right in. Look, here's all the files.
Absolute 10 out of 10 gangster shit. Just
dude,
as like
This is the white privilege you should be using. You should be using your white privilege for this kind of thing. Just walk in places.
Listen, it's funny because I was just thinking about this earlier. Is that I threw on the Michael Jordan doc, the Last Dance. You know, the one recently, because I was just watching in the background. Every once in a while, I like to see it because it's a good show. And there's that really famous moment from it where he's like, "And I took that personally," right?
I haven't seen it. I just know that whenever I get on Letterboxd, I realize you watch a movie every single night. I think that I was like, oh, that makes sense that he was putting it on in the background, because I'm pretty sure you do that every single night.
I try to. As an aside, very quickly, I'll just summarize it. But basically, the reason that documentary is very good for a lot of reasons, but a meme came from it, which is Michael Jordan is fully insane. Like Michael Jordan that we were sold in the 90s was like, be like Mike, and he's this like gentleman who's like nice and talented and blah blah blah, and he's very polished. But what the documentary reveals is that like Michael Jordan is fully out of his mind and would just come up with reasons to be angry about something, and then that anger is what would drive him to just dominate in the NBA over and over and over again. So there's all these funny stories of like
know how that is.
No. I'm talking about like he would invent slights that didn't even exist. He would just fabricate them in his own mind and then get so angry about them and then score like 60 points the next game. That kind of shit.
Like has an imagination he uses.
Yeah.
Like a negative imagination he uses for good.
Exactly. And so that became this meme where it would just be like, and I took that personally. It was like just this one line during the interview. So everyone would just be like, and I took that personally. So I'm like, Michael Jordan, championship basketballer, incredible, has done so much for the sport and for the NBA and for basketball, and is clearly very successful. I used to think he was the greatest, but now I'm like, Michael Jordan, you're pretty good at spite and to like be driven to do these things. But could you say that you could get yourself into Oxford University to do a PhD program out of spite because you hate racism so much? And my answer is absolutely not. So as far as I'm concerned, it's Renfrew Christie, then Michael Jordan in terms of like spite.
The length someone would go out of their hatred for something.
Yeah. Instead of saying you are the Michael Jordan of so-and-so, just be like, no, it is the Renfrew Christie of so-and-so, because this guy is a hater on like a degree that none of us can even comprehend.
I saw something the other day that was like, people who are haters are quote unquote more intelligent. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Michael Jordan is the Renfrew Christie of basketball, is what you're saying.
Love it. Beautifully put. Yes. And he goes for, he does a couple of, obviously he's studying up in England, and then he comes back for a couple of times, for a couple of trips for these research trips. And sure enough, he finds proof that South Africa was secretly enriching uranium to build nuclear bombs. And soon he graduates and he gets his doctorate, and his work was exemplary enough that Oxford even offers him a lecturing position. So imagine that they're like, we want you to come teach at Oxford.
He's like incredible. Failing up or spitefully. I don't know how to even explain it. Spiting up. Where it's just like, wow, I didn't mean to get here, but okay.
And they're like, you should come teach. And like, that's a great gig. You know, there's no way about it. There's no two ways about it. But he's like, no, I don't want it.
Whoa.
He turns it down and he goes back home to keep spying for the ANC.
Amazing.
And within 3 months of his return, he's arrested under the Terrorism Act, which is basically their version of like the Patriot Act. Like you're under suspicion for whatever. We can just take you and torture you for whatever reason that we want.
I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what the Patriot Act is. And it just
that's what I'm saying. It's their version of it. Yeah. Patriot sounds much nicer than Terrorism
At least
Act.
They called it for what it was.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a certain honesty there. So he's interrogated and he's tortured by the whatever secret police or whatever.
Wow.
And after countless hours of torture, they're like, you had enough? Confess. And our boy was like, oh yeah, I'll write you a confession, an extremely detailed one. I have nothing to hide.
Yes.
This is why I love this man. What does he write? Quote, all my recommendations to the ANC about the best way to sabotage Coburg and other facilities.
What? I'm in love with him. So he's like, post being tortured was like, yeah, okay, here's this. Ready?
He's like, that was all along. He's
Amazing.
Just like, yeah, no, I got it. I got it. He
Rogue
One's it.
Tell everyone.
Yeah.
He Rogue One's it, exactly.
He's like, they got like yellow cake over here, like the uranium's in like the closet, the heavy water is like in the shed, whatever. I don't know. He lays it all out. By the way, I tried to look it up, but I couldn't really find the confession itself. But he basically says like beat for beat, these are all the weak spots. These are where they're holding this. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. And remember, the ANC at this point, they're in hiding because they're fugitives from the law and they're like seen as terrorists. And they couldn't just show up to the local Starbucks with laptops and like have a work meeting with him and be like, oh, okay, cool. What did you learn here? Blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
And because this is a confession, a judge reads it out loud in a courtroom. Boom. Public record.
It's the best way to legally do all of this through a legal, like, it's just like a screw you to all of it.
Everybody.
It's like, I'm using all the systems for me to exploit, and you have to do this.
And eventually, this confession makes its way to the ANC.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, Renfrew has this like horrific run in the Pretoria Central Prison. He's like first put into solitary confinement for 7 months.
Oh.
Which is unbelievable. You hear him talk about it. He's like, you don't go through that and come out like not like a fundamentally different person.
Yeah. Normal. We're not meant for that. Yeah. Like, we're not supposed to have that happen.
And then they put him in a cell when he comes out at like the end of this block, which is right next to where all the death row inmates are hanged.
Ooh.
So it's something like he heard like 300 different hangings, he said, over the course of time that he was. So he's like, and they're doing this deliberately to break his spirit, to make him like psychologically traumatize him.
Wow.
But he's like, not as bad as what other people had to deal with. He's like, screw it. He's not like, I was okay. He was basically just like, I met this other guy in the shower who was like in solitary confinement for like years and years. Wow. You can watch it. There's like a little interview with him. There's like a clip with him that you can find on, I can't remember what the website was. I have one of these tabs open where he talks it through, but he's very measured, right? He's very level-headed. And I think he kind of has, obviously the man has perspective in terms of the, like I said, the 4D chess and the long game that he's playing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I have a new hero.
Yeah, seriously.
And I'm sure there's even more, but I'm already like, oh yeah, you're on my hero list.
So it took some time, but this is where I thought, I was like, oh, I have to do a tab. So eventually in December 1982, before the enriched uranium fuel rods were due to be loaded into the Coburg nuclear reactor, 4 limpet mines exploded because they had been planted by MK operatives Rodney Wilkinson and Heather Gray, who as whites with no political record had no difficulty getting jobs on the reactor building site. Yes. Additionally, a hydroelectric dam and assorted power stations that he had identified in the doctoral thesis were likewise bombed.
Wow. Dude, white's doing right for once. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
As far as I can tell, no one got hurt. The weapons program had suffered a significant setback of at least 18 months, and the damage was estimated at countless millions of dollars.
That's huge. That's a big deal.
Yeah. And remember, they're not hurting anybody specific. They're just putting kind of sugar in the gas tank kind of shit. They're like
just
messing shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sabotaging is the right word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And despite being in jail, Renfrew had been the driving force behind one of the ANC's most significant military blows against apartheid.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable to me. It's so interesting. It's so crazy. Eventually, he's released after 7 years in 1986 under an amnesty offered by the government as it tried to curry favor with an increasingly critical international community. Mm-hmm. Quote, which I accepted because unlike Nelson Mandela, my refusal would have no impact, and I felt like I could be more useful on the outside.
Smart.
And Christie moved to Cape Town and went into academic life. And as the Dean of Research at the University of the Western Cape, he helped build an intellectual, quote, home for the left. Basically, he's president of woke in the 80s.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
Woke president. Wokeism, the president of wokeism.
Yeah, president of wokeism.
Why does that make you not like him?
No, I know, because people use that as a slur now.
They ruined that word, yeah.
Yeah. No, he's president of good woke, let's call it.
OG. Woke.
Truly OG, yeah. Good ally, like of allyship, I guess, maybe not president of woke, but
when it would have been it would have been way easy to not do any of this. He was like, no, I'm going to absolutely do all of this.
Yes, I guess technically Nelson Mandela at this point would have been president of woke, so to speak, in terms of what they think, and he's like vice president of woke allyship. I don't know.
Yeah,
none of this matters.
He's just in the yeah, we can't. Yeah, go on.
I guess he's head professor of woke. Let's just call it that. Maybe not president of woke.
He's the dean of woke.
Dean of woke. Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah. You're welcome.
You're welcome. So he's like, I'm gonna basically make sure that the next generation understands what's going on and why it's bad.
Amazing.
And this is something to me that affirms what he was talking about when it comes to forced labor this whole time, right?
Yeah.
And how South Africa is benefiting from the forced labor in terms of in the shadow of the Cold War. And if you look at the timeline of when anti-apartheid sentiment is ramping up in the United States and the Soviet Union is collapsing,
right,
and the Cold War is basically ending, that's also when South Africa takes a huge turn.
Yeah.
And Mandela, of course, is famously released from prison in 1990. This was a big deal. I don't know, you might have been a little bit too young, but I remember it. Like, I was still little at that time, but I remember being like, who's this Nelson Mandela? It was everybody was talking about it. It was a huge deal.
Well, the Mandela effect.
Yes. I don't know why Mandela is named for that. Why is it named for Mandela?
Because
he was never released from prison. He's been there the whole time.
He died
and we
in prison.
Just or something. Yeah.
So I was one of the people who was convinced he died in prison.
Oh, literally? That's where it comes from?
I thought I had learned that. I thought that was the truth. I thought that he had died in prison. And it wasn't until I was watching America's Next Top Model in the early, the 2008 or something, that they were in South Africa and somebody on the show was like, he died in prison, and everyone else was like, no, he didn't. And I was like, what? And then later when the Mandela effect happened, I was like, dude, I saw that on America's Next Top Model.
That's my out of all of the insane things that you've said, I think the idea that I did not realize Nelson Mandela did not die in prison until I watched America's Next Top Model might be one of the greatest things.
I went through a phase, I think, in the summer of 2007, that's what it was, because I was having a mental breakdown alongside Brittany. I remember that. I felt a kinship. And I watched a lot of America's Next Top Model. Don't do that while you're having a mental breakdown, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, I watched a lot of it. And that's
people say it's trash reality TV. Here you are learning about important world events.
It's true.
If you had not watched America's Next Top Model, you would have never realized that Nelson Mandela continued to live.
I know. I didn't know he was still alive. Anyway, I was for the alternate reality where he had died in prison. So, go on.
With his release, the dismantling of the apartheid state begins. And to their credit, eventually the South African government does cop up publicly to having made bombs, 6 in total. And in 1993 became the first, and as far as I know, the only state to actually get rid of their nuclear bombs.
Whoa.
Yes. Yeah.
Like verified, got rid of them?
Got rid of them. No one else has done this as far as I know. And then eventually it takes a few years, but I think essentially like Mandela becoming president in 94 is sort of seen as the symbolic nail in the coffin of apartheid being over. And then they get a charter
how crazy
and democracy
is it
and all that
4
stuff.
years later, he was president.
Yeah,
4 years
seriously.
after being released from prison.
Jail.
Like, that's incredible. Anyway.
Yeah. So again, I think I might have said this already, but in these interviews that he talks about, he keeps saying that like the Cold War kept apartheid alive is what he kept saying.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
In a lot of ways, right? Because electricity was so cheap. And I don't know, do you ever listen to Behind the Bastards?
Yeah, I love Behind the Bastards.
Yeah, so there was an episode that they released recently, or I don't know how recent it was, but it was about like the men who would have ended the world, something or other. Did you listen to that series?
No.
So it's basically all about like how crazy generals were just like, oh, okay, now that we have a nuke, we need to have like nukes everywhere all the time as like a form of prevention or protection. Yeah. So like this is why America sort of has like nuclear subs that are always in the ocean, or there's planes that are always overhead, or there's always like a ship somewhere. So all those have like some form of nuke on them all the time. So it was interesting as I was reading this, I was like, I made that connection. I was like, oh, I guess a big part of this is like, you know, you need to have uranium and all this other shit that you gotta enrich as a way to be able to develop all these things. Yeah.
Destroying the process of that really weakens a place in the eyes of what is now considered like defense.
Yeah, and so I think I don't know much about apartheid South Africa. This is the first real kind of deep dive I'd done into any of it, but it was just interesting to me that like America sort of functioned as like this giant shark, and the South African government functioned as like a, what do they call them? The remora that like was sort of sucking off of its back, and how much that contributed to this kind of oppression and this systemic like structural racism, because people were able to, I hate the word these days, but like they're monetizing it. And it's like, it was just gross. I always knew it was bad, obviously, but it felt more gross even as I was reading about it, in the way that America sort of, and not just America, but a lot of people are, the nuclear arms race sort of keeps this kind of shit in business. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it really does. And also like the fact that the way that America treated the enslaved people that lived here,
of course,
by force, was a blueprint for how many other nations ended up treating what they saw as lesser class or lesser class people. So like seeing that, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. They're like, let's look up to our older brother America and see how we can exploit most efficiently. Anyway.
But I never made the connection between like the Cold War and like uranium and like mining and all this shit, because you hear sort of these things peripherally, but I was like, oh, this is another little triangle that's connected. Mm-hmm. In a way.
Yeah, you don't think about like the collapse of the Soviet Union also being the collapse of apartheid.
Yeah, exactly. Because no one's making money off of it now in the same way.
It's all money.
Yeah. It's like, it's such an insane thing to realize. I was like, oh God, I hate everything. Anyway, so Renfrew, he had a long academic career at the University of the Western Cape, eventually retiring in 2014 as Dean of Research and Senior Professor, and of course, Dean of Woke, as you said.
Dean of Woke, yeah.
The Navy honored him with its highest civilian award, and in June 2013, he was appointed to serve as the Defense Force Service Commission, a body tasked with making recommendations on the terms and conditions of service of military personnel.
Okay. All of that was meaningless, but good for him.
Yeah, I don't know. The Navy was like, good job. And, as I said at the top, I was reading his obituary. That's how I learned about him. So he died of pneumonia on this past December 21st at his home in Cape Town. He was 76 years old.
Oh, that's young. Oh, yeah. He just died.
That's what I was saying. Like, I was just reading about the obit. That's why I was like, who's this guy? Apparently he had they were like, oh, he loved food and wine and his wife and his daughter and all this. He had like a good, he was like kind of rewarded for his good deeds of just being like revered as this guy who was like a hero.
Good.
So I'll end with this quote. When he was asked by the BBC whether he was glad that he had spied for the ANC, he said, quote, "I was working for Nelson Mandela and the Umkhonto Esizwe. I'm very proud of that. We won. We got a democracy."
Oh, love that.
That was it.
Also, anyway, I feel like if I were him, I'd be like, why are you asking me the dumbest question on earth?
That's what a lot of interviews are these days, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's Renfrew Christie.
What an awesome man.
Seriously.
Like, solid through and through. No notes.
Exactly. No notes. I found him to be somebody who was really interesting in how he thought about how to solve these problems and how why obviously I'm not like, everybody out there should go bomb nuclear power plants. It's not what we're condoning, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I just think it's interesting that like he is talk about thinking outside the box.
Yeah. Well, talk about like opening doors that only he could open. Like, that's
exactly.
Truly how you use your standing in society if you want to use it for good. Like, that's a great way to use your privilege. Like I said earlier, it's like you go places that other people aren't allowed because of the systemic issues, and you dismantle it from within, which is really cool. I like him.
The spite PhD. I've never heard of a spite PhD until now.
I got a PhD in spite.
Really? I'm just going to write this, 200-page paper about the electrification of South Africa just so I can find out where all your plans are being hidden.
That's incredible.
Amazing. Yeah.
Man. Well, thanks for sharing about him. He sounds like what a great guy. And I'm sorry, condolences to his family right now that he passed, but what a life.
For sure. Anyway, that's my tab. I guess I have to close my tabs because you're not going to close your tabs. I would like to use the sound of bombs going off in a nuclear facility to ruin uranium enrichment, if possible.
Yeah. Which I think is in there already. I think Alyssa has the file ready because we often use explosions or bombs to destroy.
Sound effects of bombs and explosions, Hannah.
I don't know about you.
Can never be too careful.
Blowing up my computer and then buying a new one every week. So,
you want to count me down?
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, I like this. Okay, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Nice. Gone. All right. We are moving on to listener emails, and because we got a new format, we only got one email, which Hannah will read so that she has something to talk about rather than just having to respond to my tab this week.
I've been quiet this whole time. I had a story about nuclear submarines I wanted to tell, but it's too late.
Did?
Yeah. Maybe I'll say it really quick. We can edit it out if not, okay?
Okay.
I was in Bremerton, Washington, visiting friends when Russia attacked the Ukraine. And I remember that area is where most nuclear submarines are kept, armed and activated. And so we watched in the harbor as 20 different nuclear submarines.
Whoa!
And I was I felt like I was in World War. I felt like I was in a war movie. And we were just oh, there's another one. Oh, there's a ship this time. Because it was this huge Navy base.
Yeah.
Fun fact, most of our nuclear weapons are in Washington State, in that area.
Really?
So, yep. Terrifying. And right next to a volcano. It's fine. Nothing's ever going to bad happen. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, this is from John from San Francisco. Hey, neighbor. And John says, hey there, I'm the founder of the Emperor Norton Trust.
Oh!
What? A nonprofit that since 2013 has been working on a variety of fronts. Research, education, advocacy to advance the legacy of Joshua Norton. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Just watched your enjoyable new episode featuring the Emperor. Perhaps you found your way to our website and prepped for your story?
Probably. This was my tab, by the way, from a couple of episodes ago about Emperor Norton.
Oscar nominated.
Out of practice.
Emperor of California.
I bet you Edward Norton would play Emperor Norton in the movie, and he would be so insufferable. It would be so annoying.
But it would be good. I think he'd be good.
I don't know. Would he?
I don't know.
I'm kind of on the fence about Edward Norton. But anyway.
Weigh in on the Discord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us know in the comments what you think of Edward Norton being cast as Emperor Norton in the new movie from David Fincher.
Who do you think would be cast as Emperor Norton? Sound off in the comments. Okay. Hit that like button.
Smash like and subscribe.
Ring that bell or whatever they say on YouTube. I don't know. Okay. Back to John. The founder of the coolest trust I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So you wondered about the Emperor's connection to the Masons. I did. Mm-hmm. In fact, pre-imperial Joshua became a member of Occidental Lodge number 22 of F&AM San Francisco in August 1854. Okay.
So
none of those words make any sense.
He was a member is what he's saying, I think.
Okay. Sometime between May 1858 and May 1859, the latter date being just 4 months before Joshua declared himself emperor, Joshua was suspended for non-payment of dues. Okay.
I know how that goes. It's like when I don't pay my credit card bills.
Yeah, and then they kick you out of the Masons. Yeah. It's rough. Look at you. You look like
the credit card Masons.
The credit card Masons. Yeah. Yep. There is evidence that during the course of the emperor's 20-year reign, individual Masons pitched in from time to time to make sure that his daily rent was paid.
Good.
Nice. That's the nicest thing. This is the most positive thing about the Masons I've heard in a while. When the emperor died in 1880, it was one of his oldest friends, Joseph Eastland, a co-founder of the company that eventually became PG&E.
Whoa.
What? Okay. Who donated one of his... By the way, PG&E is the California's electric company.
ESCOM.
Yep. It's California's ESCOM. So...
Oh, wait. This is just another South African connection I just realized.
Yeah. Oh.
Emperor Norton was from South Africa. No.
You didn't do that on purpose. Two excellent South Africans we're talking
about
here.
That's right. Double your pleasure. Our two favorite South Africans.
Double your pleasure?
I'm just thinking of double mint gum.
So you
double your pleasure, double your fun. That's
right.
The statement of the great men and double South African dudes on 500 open tabs that we like.
I remember that song so well. The whole thing you just did. Okay. we're back, guys. Okay, so the PG&E guy, Joseph Eastland, donated one of his plots in the Masonic Cemetery for the Emp's burial. In 1975, Occidental 22 merged with an even earlier lodge, the appropriately named California Lodge No. 1. In June 2024, the trust proposed to California 1 that they explore the possibility of posthumously reinstating Joshua.
Yeah.
They did this past June. 166 years after his suspension.
Whoa.
The reinstatement was celebrated at a Masonic dinner in San Francisco at the end of August.
Hell yeah.
I love that. The Emperor Norton Trust is the true and OG rabbit hole for all things Emperor. Love to have you share our link as part of your info for the episode. Of course.
Yeah.
Best, John. That's
Thanks,
awesome.
John. Yeah. Now, again, my dumbass forgot that he was originally from South Africa. Now I'm like, can we write fan fiction where Renfrew Christie and Emperor Norton like go on some sort of time traveling adventure together?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I don't know.
I'm not going to, but somebody can.
Maybe the listeners, somebody could do that, or they could do drawings of the two of them. Anyway, those are the only two South Africans I can think of off the top of my head, obviously, other than Nelson Mandela. But
he's
I feel like Nelson Mandela is like
Nelson
a respectable...
Mandela? Sorry, I had to jump on that. I jumped on that immediately. I didn't even let you finish. It's been a month.
I have not talked this long for a while, and I can't say all my words correctly.
Keep that in, Alyssa.
I think Nelson Mandela is not as hilarious of an absurd personality, whereas Renfrew Christie and Emperor Norton are just both like insane.
Crazy. Yeah.
Wow. But maybe they can check in with Nelson anyway. I guess I'm trying to write it now, and I'm like, I don't want to write it.
This is not a story that you can write.
I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't think this is going well.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Yes.
For anyway, the first episode of season 3.
Thank you guys for writing in. Thank you to John for the email. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Hannah, for listening to my tab this week.
Listening and learning. All right.
Listening and learning, not info dumping on me, unfortunately, but you get to do that the next episode, and then I get to listen to what you have to say.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to really hope you don't get bored. We'll see.
Yes. Let us know everywhere in the comments and on Discord what you think of this new format.
Sound off.
Sound off in the comments. Tell us what you think.
And also write in your own listener mail at 500opentabs@gmail.com.
Yes. Also, we're 500 Open Tabs on Instagram, and we are on Blue Sky, allegedly. Neither of us ever update that one. Every once in a while we remember to, but Instagram is better.
I opened Blue Sky the other day, and it's like, sign in. I'm like, I haven't been here for a while, so...
and if you're listening, and if you have any kind of platform that you have, even if you got like 10 followers on Instagram or like 3 people that follow you on Blue Sky, whatever, it would mean a lot to me personally if you were to, keep the flame alive and let people know that this continues to happen. I don't know how to solve this. No one really does in terms of like a simple solution of what we're able to do, but it's not nothing. And I think if nothing else, the more people know about it, only good can come from as many people as possible being aware of the atrocities being committed. So I would consider it a personal favor to me if you guys were to do that. I've also, as I was trying to say earlier, I've been trying to channel my energy into making art. I've been doing these posters that I have a plan for a little bit later. If you're interested in sharing those, they're on my Instagram page. They're also on my Blue Sky page. It might make it easier. Thank you. And I've got a couple more in the pipeline that I keep doing, but that's just a way for me to focus my insanity because, Iran has such a complicated process of fundraising due to sanctions and, not having access to be able to people to get in there and banks and all this shit. So it's like, forget the horrors of what's happening in America, but to an extent, at least you can sort of the next day you see like, okay, well, here's a GoFundMe and here's this organization that you can set up this. And it's like, there is an infrastructure here that's very easy to set up very quickly and help people right away. And I think with the problem with, I shouldn't say the problem, what makes it so much more horrific in terms of what's happening in Iran and being part of the Iranian diaspora is like not knowing exactly a quick and easy way to tackle the problem, to show our help and to reach out. So that's been a lot of the conversations I've been having with various people. We're just sort of like, how do we think of creative ways to either show support or help people? And in my case, it's like the one thing I know how to do is draw stuff. So I'm going to keep drawing stuff. I'll keep mentioning it on the podcast. I'm going to, it's going to sort of shape, I think, how I go into the season and into this year, unfortunately, as long as this continues to be a problem, which it sounds like it will be for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it's not looking like it's going to be simply solved in any clear way.
No.
But I was just going to add, and I'm sure this goes without saying, but through all the discourse you see online, the most important thing, as somebody who is not part of the Iranian diaspora and does not know a ton about the complicated ins and outs of everything that's happened in the last over 100 years or whatever, try to focus on the people that are on the ground. That's who matters, and their choices, and they're not out there on the streets because they're out there because that's the last ditch thing they have. So whatever influences you see, try to just focus on what's happening on the ground and what those people, the actual citizens of Iran, are doing, and honor them and their sacrifices, and try not to get mixed in with any outsider politics and influences from other countries and presidents or whatever. I guess, that's what I've found, where it's that's
well put. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. If we were to have recorded this 2-3 weeks ago, I would have been rambling for hours on end about all the things that are pissing me off in terms of how these narratives are being controlled and shaped. And yet at the same time, in ways where I'm like, it's predictable. Of course, this is what was going to happen. And yet I'm still how did I don't know. Anyway.
How am I still shocked?
Exactly. How am I still shocked by this stuff? I do know better, and yet it still drives me insane every time I see it. It's it's the human condition of I'll never really be able to deal with it.
That despite everything, there is still hope that other people might understand things in a way, but then you realize they don't, and that they're just spreading misinformation. Anyway, it's a whole grieving process. We don't have to go into it. But thanks for talking about it. We, like you said, people keep talking about it.
Yes, please do. Anything you guys can do to raise awareness is much appreciated. So thank you. And thank you, Hannah, for continuing to. I told Hannah the other day that my sister was I like that Hannah's more rallying around the Iranian people than half the Persian people we know. She's going insane all over Instagram. And I was like, she better.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm look, I'll say this, and this probably sounds so I'm a white person and I appreciate cultures. But it's after meeting you, and then, of course, when you meet one Persian, you meet 20.
Yep.
And
that's how we roll.
Most of them named Kaveh, it turns out.
Yep. It keeps going.
It literally only takes knowing one person to be oh, duh.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful place that they aren't able to go back to. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that I'm right, or I want to fight someone. Because you guys are my friends, and that's not the only reason, because it's also human rights is a part of this, where it's we should all want to fight for the oppressed.
100%.
But Instagram's the only way I feel in control of anything, because there's nothing happening that I can. It's the helplessness, but like you said, you've been creating a lot of art. Everyone go look at the posters he's made. They're dope. They're powerful.
Thank you. And thank you for saying that.
And as always, keep the people, the oppressed people of the world, at the top of your thoughts, no matter where you are or who they are. And how do we sign off funny? That got
free
sad.
Iran. Free
Iran, dude. Free Palestine. Let's just lean all in, okay?
Let's do it. Love it. Yeah. This is the least funny sign off of all time. Is
both
of us
free Iran, free Palestine. Yeah. And I hate ice.
Not hilarious.
Screw ice. I hate ice. Hot take. I don't appreciate.
Melt it.
Men dressed as Nazis arresting 5-year-olds. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, how do we close this? Anything new for season 3? I'll see you at the Gwen Stefani tribute. I almost said execution. I don't know why.
We're killing people on the Gwen Stefani tribute toilet now?
No.
Dear Lord.
No, it's a holy place. By the way, I found a toilet in Guatemala. We just got back from Guatemala. And it was dedicated to flat earther beliefs. So I sat there, doing my business, and there was a screen above me telling me about flat earth stuff. And I was like, is this the flat earth tribute toilet? So I will see you at the flat earth tribute toilet.
No, the Guatemalan.
I'll see you at the Guatemalan flat earther tribute toilet. And yeah.
Yeah, what she said. Love it. We'll do that for this one. Perfect. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week with Hannah's Tab.
Woo! Bye.
Bye-bye.